If I asked you why tax season feels overwhelming year in and year out, you would probably say it's because there's too much work or not enough time. And either one of those is actually a symptom of a problem. I'm Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution. And the does not have to do necessarily with how many returns you prepare. It has to do with how many times you touch each and every return. So think about that. Here's what I mean. Your preparer, they open the return on Monday. They get partly through. They realize that, oh, a 1099-B is missing. So this triggers an email to the client, and then the preparer moves on to do another return. Absolutely, that's how the flow usually works. But 2 days later, a question comes in about that first return. So the preparer then reopens the file, maybe takes a moment to reorient themselves and realize that they're still missing information. So this might trigger another follow-up to that client. And then maybe a couple days after that, the document that was needed finally arrives. So then once again, the return is open for the third or fourth time. Think about it. One return may be opened 3-4 times in the normal course of preparing that file. So this is what I call stop-start work. And every time that you have to stop and then restart, reorient, it adds time to how long it takes to complete the return. And that's because the focus, it's constantly being broken. So research actually shows that interruptions can consume up to 30% of a workday. And think about 30% of the amount of hours that you're spending during tax season. Well, touching that same return over and over and over and over again leads to, once again, longer turnaround times, missed details, and down the road, burnout, especially as the deadline approaches. So part of it is because those things are a symptom, and the root cause is that there's no clear rule or process for when the preparation actually begins. And as a result of that, once again, because there's no clear rule about when preparation begins, you can finish a day completely drained and still feel like that pile of returns hasn't changed. So let's go with the reality. Clients, many of them will upload docs as they receive them. And without a system, preparers might start immediately. So this means that the readiness of when they actually start working on that file is subjective. And without all the docs available, as you know, the return cannot be completed. This leads to, once again, starts and stops. Each one of those starts and stops actually drain time. The minutes add up. And it's not that you need more hours, because this is a broken process. Adding more hours just continues to have something perpetuate that really isn't the most effective or efficient way of going through tax season. And because of adding more hours might perpetuate a broken system, you just continue to feel exhausted year in and year out. It is draining. It's not sustainable. And I want to be able to give you an example of how this works. I worked with a firm owner, and she prepares about 180 returns per season. One preparer, she has one admin, very simple firm, and revenue maybe around 250,000. And as you know, the majority of her financials, her work comes in, her money comes in right around tax season and after, and then she's not as busy for the remainder of the year, especially once all the extensions are done. But February through April, well, she can average 70 to 80-hour weeks. And that is really something that is so common for so many preparers. And what we did is we looked at her workflow. And that's when we looked at the average return was being open 4 times before completion. Think about that. 4 times it was being open. And it wasn't that she was disorganized. It wasn't that she was procrastinating and lacked discipline. It was more that she lacked a system that protected her focus. So we implemented what we called a readiness gate. And either it was binary. It's a binary yes, no decision. Either return is ready to be worked on or it is not. Yes, no, nothing in between, no gray areas. So this made it very, very simple. And because she was busy, she didn't need to make one more decision during tax season. We wanted to protect her time. So we gave that responsibility to her admin. Her admin was assigned as the gatekeeper who determined readiness. Once again, her admin was the gatekeeper, protecting the preparer, and the admin was the one who was going to make the decision, that yes, no decision, about whether a file was ready to be worked on. And the admin only, as a gatekeeper, moved the file to the preparer's calendar once every item on the checklist was confirmed. That included engagement terms were signed, client intake was complete, all the required documents were received, the docs were reviewed and verified, the prior year return was available, and any prepayments were confirmed. So once again, all those things were on the admin's checklist as the gatekeeper. Once all those checks were there, then it went on the preparer's calendar. And like so many firms, this particular firm had a cutoff date for having returns being done by the deadline. So their cutoff date was 1 month before the tax deadline. Returns not ready by that date automatically moved to the extension queue. So once again, if all the docs weren't received and all those checks marks weren't done, then it didn't get on the calendar. It was going to go immediately onto the extension queue. And once again, remember, very, very simple process. It's straightforward, no exceptions, and no negotiations. But the admin, because she's now the gatekeeper, needed some scripts in order to be able to really fulfill this new role. So before, she would say something like, thanks for sending that. We'll get started and let you know if we need anything else. That's what she always said before. But we gave her a new script, and it was, thanks for sending what you have so far. Once the remaining items arrive, we're going to go ahead and schedule a return so it gets our full focus. That one shift changed everything in ways that you could not, imagine. It was exponential. As a result of that, part of the benefits was preparation time was shortened. The interruptions completely dropped, and productivity improved. In fact, this tax preparer, this firm owner, she regained about 15 hours a week during her peak season. So if she was working 60-hour weeks, that dropped to 45 hours. Imagine having a 45-hour work week during peak tax season. So that is what's possible once you put this simple system in place. And the other thing is, because she actually now had some additional capacity, she could take on some more clients and do some additional returns. That led to another $40,000 in additional revenue, because once again, she was more efficient. The flow made it more effective for her to be able to maintain focus. She had increased capacity, and she was working now with clients who really valued her and respected the boundaries. So this meant that she didn't need to actually work harder. Instead, she needed to have her time protected and her ability to focus on what was really critical and able to be followed through from start to finish. So this is a way to look at how it would work in your practice and your firm. A return is either ready or not ready. It's a binary yes and no decision, and there is no more mostly ready, or there's no more we will start now and get most of it done and then come back to it later. Once again, yes and no decision, and it doesn't get put on the calendar for the preparer until the admin reviews everything, all the check marks on the list are completed, and that is when it gets moved onto the preparer's calendar to start work. And once again, if something is incomplete, then it remains in holding. It does not get scheduled. A really clear boundary, but it works very well for client-centered firms. And if things aren't complete, it doesn't get put on the calendar. It's that simple. The other thing is that there's a cutoff deadline. Remember, 1 month before the filing deadline. So anything received or completed after that cutoff date goes into the extension queue, and this helps to reinforce capacity. So returns that are ready by the cutoff receive standard turnaround time. Returns not ready move to the extension queue. And you know there's going to be late submissions, especially everybody that has K1s. And those late submissions always require additional time and effort. And instead of trying to cram them in before the deadline, which actually adds stress to your firm staff, what we want to do is realize that time and effort becomes limited, especially as the deadline approaches. And we want to be able to maintain the capacity of your firm, what you're able to handle, as well as the mental health of your staff, even if you are a staff of one. So we want to take care of boundaries and protect you so you're not burned out by the end of tax season. And here's some scripts that you can easily give your admin or whoever steps into that role of gatekeeper in order to follow this process. When documents are incomplete, you can say something like, thanks for sending what you have so far. Once the remaining items arrive, we'll go ahead and schedule your return. So that's what you can say when documents are incomplete. Now, if everything is ready, we will schedule a tax prep once all the documents are received and verified so your return gets our full focus. That's for everything is ready. And then if you receive things after the cutoff from somebody, they were procrastinating, they waited until the very last minute, then what you can say in a very client-centered way is, since we received your docs after the cutoff, we'll add your return to our extension queue. And once everything is received and verified, we'll go ahead and confirm the timeline with you. Now, I know you might be thinking some clients will push back, and there's always a few. You probably even know immediately who those people might be. But what you need to recognize is that once you clearly communicate the process and the follow-through and the flow, and you are willing to commit to it and actually have this be a system in your firm, then the process is going to protect the preparer's focus. It's going to empower the firm's admin as the gatekeeper. It reinforces boundaries in a very client-centered way without confrontation. And it also lets you see which clients are respectful of your firm's process, because that does matter. And once again, when readiness is clear, you can actually now move to value pricing. You're no longer pricing around chaos, and you're pricing now around outcomes as well as quality. So workload reduction does not happen by doing less work. It helps to be able to eliminate the hidden work. So once again, the reduction comes not from doing less work, but eliminating that hidden work. It's the stops and the starts. And some of the hidden work is the reopening, the rereading, the re-explaining, the reoriented. All those things add up time. Each one of those precious minutes accrue, and they can add up to hours and hours. As I was mentioning before, this other firm owner, a single solo firm owner with just one admin, she was saving 15 hours a week. That's the way that this can make an impact. So if you're thinking that this needs to be in place by your firm's tax season, I actually created a tax return readiness guide. And in it, you get the checklist, the client communication scripts, the internal boundary scripts. And this way, it's something you can go ahead and implement easy. Right now, this tax season, it is plug and play. If that appeals to you, then go to businesssuccesssolution.com/readiness, READINESS. So businesssuccesssolution.com/readiness, and you can download the guide, get it immediately, put it in place, and start to save some hours and reduce burnout this tax season. Don't hold off until next tax season. And once again, tax season does not have to be chaotic. That is something that can be improved upon. What we want to do is protect your focus and protect quality. So when you protect the quality, protect your focus, you create capacity for the clients that actually respect you, that are a right fit for your firm, and you are able to move your firm forward with higher quality work, higher level of service, and higher quality clients. So once again, the problem is not volume. It is starting before you are ready. I would love to hear what you took away from this, what resonated with you, what maybe a firm that you were already doing or thinking about, and where you need additional information. Please go ahead and let me know how this resonated with you. I would love to connect, and you can go ahead and get that tax return readiness guide at businesssuccesssolution.com/readiness. And if you want to talk further about how we can go ahead and get this implemented into your firm this year so that we can protect your focus, your time, and actually also increase your revenue, then let's have a conversation. You can go to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk and get that set up. I look forward to our next conversation. This is Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, showing accounting firm owners how to be able to double their revenue working half the time.